Yesterday was pretty exciting for me. So yesterday, I it was like around 10 a.m. I was on Instagram. And if you guys don't know by now, I started writing quotes on Instagram or writing quotes in general. So I've always had friends, like I would say things that I believe, say things that I thought, whether it be inspirational, motivational. I'm super passionate about being a motivational person, inspirational, good vibes, positivity, success, all of that. That's like my jam. It's one of my passions, is just like putting out good into the world. So I would always help my friends out and they're like, what you're saying is like amazing. So I was like, yeah, why don't I just like write this down? Because I already have an influence on Pinterest, which is one thing I'm going to tap into today. And I was like, one of the ways that I can spread my message is through my positivity, through inspiration, through motivation, because I'm obsessed with it, okay? So I started writing my own quotes. And yesterday around 10 a.m., I was like on Instagram and I follow my hashtag. So I have a hashtag that I made for myself, which is simply hashtag Kylie Francis. And when I made that hashtag, I like saw a post on Instagram and I was like, oh, someone reposted my quotes, because that's pretty common. Like I see people on Instagram reposting them probably like once or twice a week. I'll see somebody that reposted one of my quotes. But when I realized that it was the good quote, I like literally started shaking. I was like, oh my God, like this Instagram account has 17 million followers on it. Okay. It's one of the most popular quote pages on Instagram. And my quote was on the good quotes page. So this whole live stream is I'm going to tell you guys what it takes to do that so you can do it too, which is the whole point of my Facebook group. It's the whole reason why I teach you guys social media. It's because I'm a daily practitioner in what I do, and I show up, and everything that I tell you guys is exactly what I'm doing. I'm not making this up. I'm not predicting. I'm not guesstimating. Like this actually happened yesterday. I can screenshot that, leave it in the comments. So I want to say, hey, again, if you guys are on right now, since I shared it to my Facebook group, this whole live stream is going to be on how I got my quote reposted onto the good quote, which is almost like a dream come true in a sense for like my quote side of my personal brand. And I just want to let you guys know that if I can do this, you can too. So I'm just going to give you guys some tips as to how I did it. And there's probably millions of ways to go about it, but this is what I did. So I'm just going to tell you. So, like I said, if you're watching now, say hey, and let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. If you guys are watching the replay, let me know in the comments with hashtag replay. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, don't forget to click subscribe right here with this button and give me a thumbs up if you guys find any value in this video, or just to show appreciation and show some love. So, like I said, today I'm going to talk about how I got reposted on a famous Instagram account yesterday, which was the good quote. I'm sure everybody watching this probably follows the account. One of my quotes that I wrote on the good quote got reposted on the good quote. And I was just like, holy shit, how did this even happen, right? Like I was like, oh, not in the sense of like, how did it happen? I was just like so taken aback that it actually happened. So I think that before I get started, one thing that I want to take note, or what I just want to like say flat out blank, is that no, I didn't just make one picture, one quote, and then it all of a sudden got reposted on the good quote, okay? It's kind of like those success stories that you read like all over Facebook groups where people are like, oh, I have a 6-figure business in 2 days. Like I have a 7-figure business in a month. Like click here to do this, whatever. That's not what I'm telling you guys to do in this video, okay? So if you guys are looking for instant gratification, you're looking for a fast track to do the same thing, this is not the video for you, okay? What I'm gonna tell you is so simple to do, but it does take daily consistency, and it does take being obsessed with what you're passionate about. That's like the answer to anything, and that's what I tell you guys with social media. It's just like, you have to find what you're passionate about enough that you'll do it every day without getting paid or reaping any result until the result actually comes for you. So if you're looking for an instant success story, like only have to make one quote or post one selfie on Instagram and you'll be Kim Kardashian, post another quote and you'll be Oprah Winfrey, this is not the live stream for you, okay? So now that I got that out of the way, I'm going to tell you guys some steps. I don't have any notes. I don't take notes for my live streams. Just have my computer to share to my Facebook group, but I just want to tell you guys some tips that I did in order for you guys to do this too. So the first one is to decide. And that might seem simple and it might seem stupid, but the first step in getting what you want is all in your mindset. Because if I were to still sit here today and I can still have the same thoughts, same, dreams, same things that like I want to accomplish in my life, but if I don't do anything about it, nothing is going to happen. So the first thing that you need to do is you actually need to decide that whatever you want to do is good enough. Like, decide that you're capable, decide that you're worthy, decide that you can do whatever, Oprah's doing, Tony Robbins, like all of those people are not untouchable. They were in the same exact position that you are in now, I guess I should say, and they decided to make something of it. So just know that the first step is just to decide that you can do it. So that might seem woo-woo and dumb, but it's really true, because I can't tell you guys enough, like from the beginning of when I first started making quotes, like I had people be like, you're so narcissistic, you're so into yourself, like you're quoting yourself, you're this, you're that, like that's stupid, what you just said is like, doesn't even make sense. And I'm just kind of like, I don't write this for it to make, like I don't seek validation from people. What I'm writing is from my own experience. And you guys probably hear me preach is that perfection is bias. Everyone has different perceptions of reality. So it's like whatever I say is what I firmly believe, and it will help other people that are on the same journey as me. So don't worry about not being accepted by everyone. People are going to make fun of you. They are going to be mean, and it's just their own, like, opinions are just their own perspectives of their own insecurities. So it's like when they say something, that's what they firmly believe, but it's like that's your opinion and it has nothing to do with my journey. So step one is deciding. It's just being like, I want to do this because this is what I'm obsessed with. This is my passion, and it doesn't have to be quotes. It can literally be anything. This is just my journey with the quotes and like getting reposted by the good quote on Instagram. And so, like I said, first step is deciding. The second step is consistency. So a lot of people, like I said in the beginning of this video, is that a lot of people think that they can just, post one quote, post one, sales message about their business. Maybe they want to sell their product and they make one post about their product and they're like, okay, the world knows about me. Like, I'm done. Even though I got one like, it's a failure. Like, I give up, throw the hands in the air, and then they just like go on their merry way. And it's like, that's why a lot of people aren't successful, is because they don't try enough. So I want to let you guys know, and I already said this in the beginning of this video, that it's so easy to see a result and be like, oh, I want that. How did it come so easy for her? And it's like, when I started making my quotes, I don't know what the heck my hair is doing. When I started making my quotes, I didn't seek to be reposted by anybody. I didn't seek it for attention. I didn't seek it for anything. It was just something, it was a way for me to have like a creative outlet and hopefully help other people succeed as well. So I made probably I made probably a quote a day for the last year and a half. So do the math. I made about like 500 quotes for a year and a half before one of my quotes got reposted onto a famous Instagram account. And my quotes have been reposted by other accounts too, but like the good quote is probably like the top one, okay? So I just wanted to say that like the second part, so the first part is deciding that your offer, your message, your beliefs, whatever you're deciding to do with your online business is good enough, okay? The second part is consistency, because far too often, like we always see, is that we see 6-figure business in 2 weeks, 7-figure business in 3 months, like how to make $100,000 in a day. Who has seen those? Let me know in the comments. I'm not saying that cannot happen, but that doesn't happen all the time for every single person, unless you're like extremely dedicated in what you're doing and you already have the audience, okay? So the second step is consistency. So the reality of this whole story is that like I've already made 500 quotes before one of them got reposted, okay? 1 out of 500. Now, that's just going to show you that it wasn't an overnight thing. Like it wasn't one of those things where I like made one quote and then I reaped the result of being reposted, okay? So the first one is deciding, the second step is consistency, and the third step is that I did not use Instagram in order to get my my quote reposted onto Instagram. I used Pinterest, okay? So I think this is like the biggest like bling, bling, bling that you guys like need to write down about Pinterest, is that Pinterest is a search engine. So when you go about, for example, I feel like a lot of people see Instagram and they're like, okay, in order to go viral on Instagram, I need to post content on Instagram. And that's not true, okay? In order to go viral, you need to have a story behind whatever you're talking about. Now, I posted quotes because that's what I like, okay? You can go viral on any subject, any story, anything. I specifically did a quote. So my quotes I post on Pinterest because Pinterest is a search engine. So when people search for motivational quotes, inspirational quotes, I don't know what my hair is doing again. Motivational quotes, inspirational quotes, female entrepreneur quotes, like life quotes, love quotes. It doesn't matter. People search for that daily, probably all the time, 24/7 on YouTube, or not YouTube. Well, yeah, probably on YouTube too. YouTube, Google, Pinterest, any search engine out there, okay? So what happened was like every time I made a quote on Canva, that's where I make my quotes. Every time I made a quote, I published it first on Pinterest because it's a search engine. I know people can search for my quotes on Pinterest. And not only that, all Pinterest results also go to Google. So I made that post in here before. One of my other quotes, not the one that got reposted by the good quote, but another one was a result out of 200 million on Google, which is even more than the good quote. But it was sitting number one on the Google search engine out of 200 million results. And I left that post in my Facebook group before and on my business page. I can leave that link below in the comments again. But that happened because of Pinterest, okay? And the reason why that happened and the reason why my quote went viral is because people can search for the quote, okay? So if you want to go viral on Instagram or on Facebook or whatever, you can by using those platforms, but it's probably not going to be as likely because people aren't searching for a solution to their problem, okay? It would have to be like a story, like a captivating story or something that makes people like want to share a quote, or if it's posted on a popular network already. Okay, let me know if this makes sense. Hey Mark, how are you? If you guys are hopping on, say hey, and let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. And Mark says it's all about consistency. Always, always, always about consistency. So decide, consistency, and then I use Pinterest. So could you hypothetically use Instagram where you have maybe 500 followers and maybe you get 20 likes on your picture? Yeah, but the problem with that is, and only relying on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever, is that they're all time-sensitive platforms. So the reason why my quote went viral on Pinterest and then was brought onto Instagram was because people were searching for it on Google or searching for something like it. So like, I need motivational success quotes for female entrepreneurs. When people search for that, my quote comes up because it is on a search engine. Does this make sense to you guys? So, and not only that, your content on search engines lasts forever. So when I say my quote was number one out of 200 million results on the Google search engine, it's not moving, okay? And the reason for that being is because every time someone clicks or repins on Pinterest, that's sending the search engine, that's like a vote. It's like, I like this, I'm clicking on it, okay? That's how websites go up in the search engine, is every time someone clicks on your website, which mine is Pinterest, when someone clicks on that, that's sending a vote to Google where it's like, okay, this is like a credible source. So it goes up in the search engine. And since my quote is still going viral on Pinterest, it's still going to stay number one in the Google search engine, okay? So that's a little search engine SEO passive marketing strategy for you guys, is that when you post content on a search engine, your result lasts forever, which is how I am a big, big believer to know that that is how my quotes go viral, is because of Pinterest. Because people aren't necessarily searching for me, but my name is now affiliated with what I'm saying. Does that make sense? So my quote didn't go viral because I'm Kim Kardashian, okay? I'm not Kylie Jenner. I'm Kylie Francis, okay? So people search for my quote, but since they see my quote and underneath it, it's linked with, or not linked, it says my name and then my Instagram name, now people know who I am, which is visibility, okay? So when my quote got reposted onto the Good Quotes Instagram, I got a message on Instagram and somebody was like, oh, that sucks that they didn't tag you, because they didn't tag me. So you know how you can tag a profile and like tag the person on Instagram, I guess, like on a picture? They were like, oh, they didn't tag you. And I was like, quite frankly, I don't even care, because it had my quote and it had my name. people that want to know more about my quotes, and since all of my quotes look the same, all people have to do is go to Google and be like, who is Kylie Francis? There's my website, there's my YouTube channel, there's my Pinterest, there's my Facebook group, there's everything about me is already there. That's why it's so super important that if you're going to start creating, which is the next step I'm going to give you, is shareable content, you need to brand yourself. Because far too often I see this happening is when people's stuff goes viral and after the fact they're like, oh my God, I didn't prepare for this. I didn't prepare for this thing that I created to go viral, so I didn't tag myself. I didn't put a watermark on my picture. I didn't write at, Kylie_Francis. You need to make sure that when you create shareable content, which is the next tip, that you always brand yourself. Now, what is shareable content? Shareable content is quite literally content people want to share because it evokes emotion, or it's inspiring, it's motivational. It's something where it's like, it can do with you, but people relate more to the story than they do with who is actually telling the story, okay? So for example, if you had like a transformational weight loss story, a lot of people can relate to that, or it's inspiring to a lot of people because they're like, oh, I want that to happen for me too. So the same thing goes with quotes, is that when you create quotes on, wherever you want to push it, Facebook, Instagram story, Facebook story, Pinterest, wherever, when you create those quotes, you're talking to the masses, or you're talking to people that can relate also to that quote. Does that make sense? So the first one, let me see if I remember all the tips. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. So I'm going to see if I can remember all the tips that I just said. So the first one was to decide that whatever you want to do, it doesn't have to be a quote. It can just be anything that you want to create, whether that be a product, course, a digital, or like a service, or whatever have you, your own online business. Decide that it's enough for you, okay? You're doing this for you and to help other people. You're not doing it, like, even though I say you're doing it for you, like, you're not really doing it for yourself to become famous. You're doing it to help other people, but you're doing this for you because it also fulfills a passion inside of you, okay? The second part is consistency. You have to stay consistent with it. Like I said, I did 500 quotes. I know a lot of others went viral, but the one that was picked up by the good quote was one of the ones that went viral, but it took one out of, like, I'm estimating 500 quotes for them to pick it up. So don't ever be so entitled to think where it's like, oh, I made one, why is the good quote not reposting my quote? Okay, it's because quite frankly, no one even knows that that quote probably even exists, especially if you're only pushing it onto Instagram and Facebook and it only gets 2 likes, okay? Start pushing your quotes onto the third tip, which is a search engine. Because when you do that, people can search for your content, okay? They're not searching necessarily for the quote, they're searching for the solution to their problem. So your quote could be a solution to the problem. When people search for motivational success quotes for female entrepreneurs, my quote is probably gonna come up on the search engine, okay? It comes up on the Pinterest search engine because that's where I'm posting it, and it comes up on the Google search engine because every result that's on Pinterest also shows up on Google, okay? And the fourth tip, which I knew I was like on a roll. I was like, am I gonna forget this? And there we go. So the fourth tip, what was I saying? Okay, so it's like decide, consistency, Pinterest, and I don't remember the fourth tip. If anybody's watching, let me know. That's what happens when I go on a rant. I kind of just like forget and I go off the top of my head. But anyways, longest story short, it was shareable content. So decide, consistency, Pinterest, and then shareable content. So in order for people to actually post about your type of content, it has to be shareable content. If you're posting a selfie on Instagram with a witty one-liner and the lighting is bad and no one can see your face and they don't know what you're talking about, that's not shareable content. People don't want to share that on their own personal page. A great way to look at this is to take a step back and be like, would I share this myself? Would I like this picture if I even posted it? And I know a lot of people can get biased because it's their own content, but take a step back from your feed and be like, would I even like this? Like, would I even share this onto my Instagram story if I didn't know this person, okay? That's a great way to tell if your content is shareable content. Now, it doesn't have to be in the form of a quote. It can be in the form of like an inspirational story, maybe a transformational story, something that other people can relate to because they're going through the same thing as well, okay? Mine just so happened to be one of my quotes. And I think I said this in the beginning of the video, but I'm going to wrap this up. So if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments before I wrap this up. But the fourth one is that you have to be passionate about what you're doing, and you can't do something just because of the result that could potentially come with it. Like I said, when I started making quotes, I didn't do this because I was like, oh, one day I'm going to be reposted onto a famous like quote page, or one day I'm going to do, or like I'm going to do this because I want 80,000 people, like actually I think like 150,000 people like the picture. But like, I'm not doing this for that. I'm doing this because writing was a creative outlet for me. Like I was like, every quote that I make, I go through in that moment, whether I'm going through it or I think it or some other outside source that I'm going through my online business, through my relationships, through my, that could be family, like actual relationships or whatever. I'm going through these things, and it was like a way for me to express how I felt. But it was like, I think that if I write this, I can help somebody else out too. Okay, that was the whole purpose for me writing quotes, which is why I can do it every single day. That's why I always have new and fresh content. That's why it's not hard for me to do. And that's how I can make I think I have about like, I want to say around 500. Now that could be give or take. It could be like 300, it could be 400, 500. All I know is that I've been doing it for a year and a half, and I've been doing it almost every single day. Now, if you think about that, and I've said this on another live stream too, if you think about that and you're like, wow, that's a lot. Like, I don't have time for that. Like, there's no way I could be able to do that. Like, I don't know how she does it. That's a sure, like, telltale sign that whatever you're doing right now, you're actually not passionate about what you're doing. And that might sting. You might not like to hear that, but it's true. Because there's like some famous Oprah Winfrey quote where it's like, you should be able to do whatever you're doing without getting paid for it the rest of your life. And that's how you know you're going to be famous, or not famous, successful. Because it's like you're so passionate about changing other people's lives that it doesn't matter like what you do, but in your heart somehow in some way you're going to end up transforming other people's lives. So that was like a whole nother side rant. And it's like one of those things where it was like, I know I had a couple people asking me like how this happened, like how did you do this, whatever. And I think the biggest thing to like look at bigger picture is that it didn't happen in one day. It didn't happen with one quote, and it didn't happen for me posting on Instagram. I told you guys I think there were 4 or 5 steps that like what I took in order for this to happen for me, but I think the biggest one is Pinterest. And yes, I do have a Pinterest marketing course that teaches you how to do all this, and I'm not trying to sell that, but it's one of those things where it's like Pinterest works because it's a search engine. I'm going to explain briefly how that works, because when people search for the solution to their problem, they don't have to be searching specifically for your name or specifically for your quote, okay? Which is how my quotes go viral. It's because people aren't necessarily searching for the quote. They're searching for either the type of person that they are, the type of quotes that they want, or what they're going through in that moment. So for example, like I already said, in order for my quotes to go viral, I just have to create quotes that other people are searching for. So people can be searching for motivational success quotes for female entrepreneurs. Like there was one on Pinterest where it's like how to live with a narcissistic husband, toxic relationship quotes, heartbreak quotes, whatever. When people search for all of these things, it's because the majority of people, health, wealth, and relationships, okay, and work, I guess, a lot of people go through all of that together, okay? But people are searching for that. They're not searching for me and my quote. They're searching for that topic. Now, if I become a contender by posting every single day, and remember, this goes exactly for you guys as well. It doesn't have to be quotes. This also goes with your online business, okay? You don't become a contender in anything if you don't post about it, right? So if you're like worrying about all these limiting beliefs inside your head, like this could never happen for me, people hate me if I talk about my business. I don't want to talk about my business because I don't know what other people are going to say. It's like, that's all like me method. It's like, I don't want to do it because I'm scared about what other people are going to think of me. Me. Okay. But it's like, no, I am going to do this because I want to show up and help other people. That's when you start succeeding in business. Okay. So I don't even know where I was going with that rant, but long story short, it's like you can't be a contender if you don't show up consistently, okay? Because guess what? There are thousands of other people that are showing up consistently, okay? Not only are they showing up daily with one post, there's a lot of people that are showing up daily with multiple posts every single day. Now, what does this do? If you do simple math, and I explained this on another live stream, if you're watching this on my Facebook business page, I did this on a live stream inside my social media marketing Facebook group, and this is like simple logical math. If you want to be a contender and you post every single day, you're posting 365 days a year. Now, if your strategy is like, oh, I don't want to annoy people because I don't know what they're going to think about me, so I'm only going to post once a week, you're only posting 52 times a year, and that's actually if you post every single week. So the ratio, 7 to 1, okay? 365, 52 weeks in a year, 7 days a week, okay? So if you're doing that, you're down here while other people are up here. And the fact of the matter is, it's like not even that this person's even better than you. It's not that they like have what it takes and you don't. It's just that they want to be seen. Best known beats best. So yeah, sorry, I read Mark's comment. And then Mark said, talk about best practices for hashtags on your posts. Let me know what, I was going to say search engine, social media website you want me to talk about, Mark, for that. But going back to what I was saying was that like you become a contender by showing up, and the amount of times that you show up on different social media networks just by repurposing your content makes you more of a contender. So are my words like spellbounding, like Nobel Peace Prize winning, like whatever have yous? Absolutely not. Okay. I'm not trying to say that I'm a Nobel Peace Prize winning quote writer or whatever, okay? Just like thunk a thought and I wrote it down on Canva, okay? But, this is the but, and this was all the tips put together, is that I wanted to do it for other people. It's my passion, but I knew it would help other people, which was the driving force behind me doing it every single day. I'm around 500 quotes. One got reposted onto the good quote. So, was this an overnight success? And is anybody an overnight success? No, unless you actually go like super viral, and that's a whole nother different topic. But the thing is that you can't be a contender if you're only going to post one thing about your business. If you're only going to be like, oh, you know, I posted one sales message about my product, like everyone in the world should know about it, like, and then no one buys it, and you wonder why no one's like, you know, buying. And it's like, because you're quite literally not talking about it enough. No one actually knows, especially in the algorithm in 2019. You have to stay consistent. You have to show up daily. You have to create shareable content. And that is how you stand out online. But it's all about pushing out new content consistently. And if it's something that you love doing, kind of like me in live streams, like in my Facebook group, I do live streams all the time because I love helping you guys out, which is why I show up every day. It's not exhausting for me. It's just one of those things that's like a natural habit now, and I just do it because I like doing it, and it's like how I like to deliver content. So Mark said, talk about best practices for hashtags on your posts on Instagram. So on Instagram, I should make this another live stream video, but I will just quickly go over your answer. Ow, sorry, I'm sitting on the ground because I hurt my back. Best hashtag strategy for Instagram is that I use 30 hashtags. Okay, so this is another thing too. This is what I do. You guys can do whatever you want, but this is what I do now, okay? Best practices for hashtags all has to do with, I'm going to make this another live stream, Mark, because it really has to be dependent upon the number of followers that you have. Because if you have about 10,000 plus followers, you can trickle into posts that have like multi-millions of hashtags. But if you are just starting out on Instagram and you try to post about like hashtag dog, hashtag cat, hashtag best day ever, hashtag love quotes, and you're all in the hashtags of like 100 million Instagram hashtags, you're not going to stand out because no one's liking your posts and it's not getting any engagement, and it's going to go down the rankings really fast because all of the people like Kylie Jenner and like Tony Robbins and all of those people that have millions of followers are getting that engagement to be on the top page of the hashtag. So I want to save that for another live stream, Mark. But if you guys have questions about Instagram hashtags, let me know in the comments and I will answer that on another live stream, because quite frankly, my post didn't go viral on Instagram, it went viral on Pinterest. So a good hashtag strategy on Pinterest, even though Pinterest kind of goes back and forth with their hashtags and allowing them or not, I would just say use 1 to 3 hashtags on Pinterest, because there was like a long time Pinterest didn't even use hashtags. So it's just kind of like a cherry on top strategy. So yeah, that's all I have to say. So if you guys love this video, let me know in the comments. And like I said, so the tips that I kind of gave you were just like, if you want to go viral on a big like Instagram account, or you like, you know, want to get featured in Forbes, or you want to do this, you want to do that, all these things, it takes time. This took me 1.5 years to do, okay? And it wasn't something that I was like shooting for, it just like kind of happened. But this was my experience with it, was that like, you have to be passionate about what you're doing. You have to do it every single day. You have to post content onto a search engine, and then it has to be shareable content. Now, the people that have been following me for a really long time, that all should ring a bell, because I say that probably on every single live stream that I do, okay? So, like I said, consistency, shareable content on a search engine where people can search for the solution to their problem. If you guys heard me say that before, let me know in the comments, because I know that I say that on every single live stream. And it's true. And that's how my quote got reposted. So I just wanted to come on this live stream and share that my experience with you guys, because it was something that was like really cool, and it was a way for me to get like a lot of visibility and exposure, and I figured it would help you guys out. So I hope you guys love this video. If you did, if you're watching the replay, you love this video, let me know in the comments. I know I went on a couple side tangents, so sorry about that. But if you guys have any questions whatsoever, Instagram hashtags, Mark, I'm going to do another separate live stream on that, because that's like a completely separate, I feel like that's like a whole nother hour-long live stream, because it's really dependent upon the number of posts in the hashtag and also the number of followers that you have. Because ultimately you want to rank on the top hashtags, and if you're like, if you have like 1,000 followers and you're like messing with hashtags where there's like, you know, 140 million posts, the likelihood of you being seen on the top explore page on that hashtag set is slim to none. That's just how it is. So that's all that I have to say for today. So I hope you guys have had an amazing week. And if you guys love this video, let me know in the comments, like I already said. And if you guys have any questions related to social media marketing, let me know in the comments, because your question could quite literally and anonymously be the topic of my next live stream. So I hope you guys have an amazing weekend, and I will see you guys next week on my next live stream. Bye, guys.